This is lesson 6.4, multiplying integers. First, let's do a few examples of our two previous lessons on adding and subtracting integers. First, number one is subtracting integers. And remember the rules on subtracting integers. The first number is the same. You switch the subtraction to addition, and then you switch the sign of your second integer. So now then you use addition rules. So in this case, you have signs are different, so you subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. 5 is bigger than 4 and it's positive, so your answer should be 1. We'll check it here in a minute. Number 2 is already an addition problem. Signs are different, so you subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So in this case, it would be positive 4. Now you have subtraction on number 3, so again, the first number stays the same. Switch the change subtraction to addition. Then we're going to switch the sign of the second integer. Now, use addition rules. Signs are the same, so you add and keep the same sign. So let's check these and make sure we got them correct. Number 1 is 1. Number 2 is a positive 4. And number 3 is a negative 11. So back to multiplying integers. Here are the rules for multiplying integers. The sign when multiplying two numbers. Now this is only for two numbers. Multiplying two numbers together. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. And then you multiply like normal and put your answer after your sign, whether it's positive or negative. Next, when you're multiplying more than two numbers, in this case, count the number of negatives. If that answer or the number of negatives is even, the answer is positive. If the number of negatives is odd, the answer is negative. And then you multiply like normal, and then you put that answer after the sign, whether it's positive or negative. Here's some examples of multiplying integers. First on A, right here they want you got a negative 5 times a negative 7. So again, the answer in this case, the signs are the same. So when multiplying integers, if the signs are the same, your answer is a positive. In this case, 35. On B, it's a negative 8 times a negative or a positive 2. So signs are different, so your answer is going to be negative 16. Then next, you got negative 12 times 0, and of course, anything times 0 is just 0. So some more examples. Evaluate a squared when a equals 2. When a equals negative 3. Sorry. So evaluate a squared when a equals negative 3. So let's work that out to the side here. So you've got a squared when, so that's going to equal negative 3 squared. So negative 3 squared is the same as negative 3 times negative 3. So remember the rules for multiplication. The signs are the same. The answer is positive. In this case, positive 9. On B, evaluate x times y times z when x equals 2, y equals negative 4, and z equals 6. So again, it's x times y times z when x equals 2, when y equals negative 4, and when z equals 6. Now remember, if you're multiplying more than 2, you count the number of negatives. In this case, there's 1, and that's odd. So that means your answer is going to be negative. So then you just multiply like normal. 2 times 4 is 8, times 6 is 48. So negative 48 for your answer. Let's double check and make sure we got these correct. And we did. Okay. Here's a multiple choice question. A negative times a negative gives you a negative. Is that true or false? Well, let's give an example here. Let's say we had a negative 3, and that's a negative, times another negative, say negative 4. Remember the rules for multiplication are, if the signs are the same, the answer is positive. So in this case, a positive 12. So does the answer give you a negative? That would be false. So another example, find the product. Negative 9 times negative 7. Again, and when multiplying, if the signs are the same, the answer is a positive. In this case, a positive 63. So that would be D. Another example, signs are different. so that means your answer is going to be negative, and 3 times 9 is 27. So negative 27, so your answer is B. Evaluate when x equals 4 and y equals negative 2. You got a negative x times y. So say negative, and then x is 4 times y, which is a negative 2. So now we have signs are the same, so your answer is going to be a positive 8, which in this case would be C. Multiplying 3 numbers together, x, y, and z. When x is a negative 2, y is a negative 5, and z is a negative 9. Remember, multiplying more than 2, you count the number of negatives. In this case, you've got 1, 2, 3 negatives. 1, 2, 3 negatives. That is odd, so your answer is going to be negative. And then you multiply like normal. 2 times 5 is 10, times 9 is 90. So negative 90. So your answer is B in this case. And finally, multiply negative 64 times 15. So the signs are different, so your answer is going to be negative. And then you multiply like normal. So 64 times 15. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 2 is 32. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 6 is 6. 0, 6, 960. So it would be a negative 960. So your answer is C. So this concludes our lesson on multiplying integers.